You might have heard of playing chicken in movies, but did you know this game has real-life applications that stretch from international politics to business and even social interactions? We'll explore how this high-stakes standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union can be understood through a classic game theory model called the chicken game. In 1962, during the Cold War, the Soviet Union secretly placed nuclear missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles off the coast of the United States. When American spy planes discovered these missile sites, the US government faced a severe threat. Soviet nuclear weapons in close range could reach almost every major American city in minutes. President John F. Kennedy and his advisors had a critical decision to make. Should they demand the immediate removal of the missiles, risking a potential nuclear conflict, or should they avoid escalation and find a diplomatic solution, which could be perceived as a sign of weakness? On the other side, Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev had his own set of choices. Should he stand firm and keep the missiles in Cuba to protect Soviet interests and show strength, or should he back down, removing the missiles but appearing weak in the face of US pressure? The Cuban Missile Crisis quickly became a dangerous game of chicken. Both superpowers were driving full speed toward each other, metaphorically speaking, on a collision course. Over the next 13 days, the world watched anxiously as the two superpowers exchanged threats and warnings. US forces were put on high alert, and a naval blockade was established around Cuba to prevent further Soviet shipments. The situation was tense. One wrong move, and the result could be catastrophic. President Kennedy and Premier Khrushchev are essentially playing a high-stakes game of chicken, with the fate of the world hanging in the balance. Who would swerve first to avoid a catastrophic nuclear war? The chicken game is a model in game theory that describes a conflict where two players head towards each other on a collision course. The goal for each player is to avoid being labeled as the chicken while also avoiding a catastrophic outcome. In the chicken game, there are two players. In the Cuban Missile Crisis, the players were the United States and the Soviet Union. The choices are stay firm or swerve. The first strategy involves not backing down, maintaining a tough stance, and risking a catastrophic outcome, in this case, nuclear war. The other strategy involves yielding to the opponent's demands or pressure to avoid a disastrous confrontation. If both players choose to stand firm, they collide, leading to a mutually disastrous outcome. This would have meant nuclear war. If one player stands firm while the other backs down, the one who stands firm is seen as strong or victorious, while the one who backs down is seen as weak, or as the chicken. If both players back down, they avoid the disaster, but neither player gains a clear advantage. It is a safer, more cooperative outcome, but both players might feel that they have shown some level of weakness. In the end of the Cuban Missile Crisis, both sides made concessions. The Soviet Union agreed to remove the missiles from Cuba in exchange for a US promise not to invade Cuba and the secret removal of US missiles from Turkey. This resolution is often seen as a successful outcome of the chicken game, where both parties avoided disaster by finding a face-saving solution that allowed them to back down without appearing weak. So, what's the best way to approach the chicken game? The optimal strategy often involves a combination of signaling, reputation, and calculated risk. Players often send signals to communicate their intentions. The idea is to convince the other player of your commitment to not backing down, potentially forcing them to change their strategy. Reputation plays a crucial role. If a player has a history of not swerving, they are more likely to succeed in future chicken games because their opponents may swerve first to avoid disaster. This is why, in negotiations or conflicts, building a reputation for toughness or resolve can be an essential strategy. Sometimes players might bluff, pretending to be more committed than they are. This can involve strategic deception, where a player feigns a strong commitment to staying the course while secretly planning to swerve if the risk becomes too high. So, what can we learn from the chicken game? Whether it's global politics, business competition, or everyday social interactions, the chicken game teaches us about the importance of strategy, risk management, and understanding human psychology. Sometimes, knowing when to stand firm and when to back down isn't just about bravery, it's about making the smartest move possible. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about game theory and strategic decision-making, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Let us know in the comments if there are other game theory concepts or historical events you'd like us to explore.